Good morning, one and all, my dear students. Very good morning. Today we are going to start chapter number 3, Life Processes in Living Organisms, part 2. In the previous chapter, we already learned part 1. Today we are going to learn part 2. Students, what is meant by life processes? लाईफ प्रोसेसेस म्हणजे काय? तर सजीवांची जीवन प्रक्रिया सुरळीत चालण्यासाठी सजीवांच्या शरीरात ज्या वेगवेगळ्या संस्था कार्य करत असतात त्यांना आपण जीवन प्रक्रिया असं म्हणतो. द लाईफ प्रोसेसेस आर इम्पॉर्टंट ऍक्टिव्हिटीज परफॉर्म बाय अन ऑर्गॅनिझम टू सस्टेन द लाईफ ऑन अर्थ. पृथ्वीवर आपलं अस्तित्व टिकवून ठेवण्यासाठी प्रत्येक सजीव त्याच्या शरीरातील ज्या संस्था आहेत, फॉर एक्झाम्पल डायजेस्टिव्ह सिस्टीम, रेस्पिरेटरी सिस्टीम, सर्क्युलेटरी सिस्टीम, all the life processes are very important to sustain on earth. Students, in the last previous chapter we learned about the 8 types of life processes. That 8 types of life processes, how to remember? There is a memory enhancement trick. How to remember that 8 types of life processes? Memory enhancement trick is there. तुम्हाला काय लक्षात ठेवायचं आहे? मिसेस ग्रेंट, GRENT, मिसेस ग्रेंट. What is the long form and abbreviation? What is the meaning of this abbreviation? M for movement. The first life process is movement. The second life process is responsiveness. R stands for respiration. S stands for sensitivity. G stands for growth. Again, R stands for reproduction. E stands for excretion. N stands for nutrition. And T for transportation. Students, you have to remember Mrs. Grant. Mrs. Grant is the short abbreviation of these 8 types of life processes. This is one type of memory enhancement trick. विद्यार्थी मित्रांनो, मेमरी एनहान्समेंट ट्रिक म्हणजे ऍट अ ग्लान्स फक्त मिसेस ग्रेंट हा शब्द जरी तुम्ही लक्षात ठेवला तरी त्या शब्दाच्या प्रत्येक इनिशियल लेटर्स वरून आपल्या सगळ्या लाईफ प्रोसेसेस तुम्हाला लक्षात ठेवायच्या आहेत. मूवमेंट, रेस्पिरेशन, सेन्सिटिव्हिटी, ग्रोथ, रिप्रोडक्शन, एक्सक्रीशन, न्यूट्रिशन and transportation. All these life processes are very important for all the organisms to sustain on earth. आओ बच्चों, तो फिर कहानी सुनते हैं मिसेस ग्रेंट की. Today we are going to learn reproduction, the 5th type of life processes, that is reproduction. What is meant by reproduction? प्रजनन म्हणजे काय? तर सजीव स्वतःसारखा जीव निर्माण करण्याच्या प्रक्रियेला प्रजनन असं म्हणतात. Reproduction is the process in which the organism produce the same species organism by the process of reproduction. Then the types of reproduction. types of reproduction are of two types. In this chapter, there are two types of reproduction given. That two types of reproductions are, we are going to learn by this concept map, asexual reproduction and sexual reproduction. Asexual reproduction and sexual reproduction. In this lecture, we are going to learn only asexual reproduction. What is meant by asexual reproduction? The asexual reproduction means asexual reproduction is a uniparental reproduction in that only one single cell is involving in the reproduction. That is why called as uniparental reproduction. Uniparental reproduction. Because only single cell is involved in this cell division, that is called as the mitotic division. Whenever there is a parent cell, in that parent cell, the nucleus is present and the cytoplasm is present. The cell in favorable condition divides into two exactly similar daughter cells and divides mitotically, is called as asexual reproduction. Only single parent cell produce the two exact similar cells called as the daughter cells. These cells are called as the daughter cells. And in biology, the parent cell, from parent cell, two daughter cells are reproduced. And this happens only in somatic cell. There is no male gamete and female gamete are not involved in this asexual reproduction. That is why this asexual reproduction is also called as uniparental reproduction, because only single cell reproduce and mitotic division takes place and two exactly similar cells are produced called as the daughter cells. What is the benefit of asexual reproduction and what is the drawback of asexual reproduction? Students, asexual reproduction is very fast. This is the fast process. But there is no genetic recombination in this. Genetic recombination is not present. Genetic recombination is not present. This is the disadvantage of asexual reproduction. Students, the process of formation of new organism of an organism of the same species and without involvement of the gametes. Gametes means either male gamete and female gamete. And during the fertilization, zygote is formed. But in this process, only single cell is involved. And genetic recombination is absent. This is the drawback of this process, and this is very fast. This is the advantage of this process. The asexual reproduction is divided into three types. The asexual reproduction, the types of asexual reproduction in unicellular organism. Next, the types of asexual reproduction in unicellular organism. Asexual reproduction in unicellular organism. You have to consider the concept map. There are three types of asexual reproduction in unicellular. Remember students, the asexual reproduction takes place in multicellular organism also and in unicellular organism also. Unicellular means the primitive cells and that organisms are included in the protozoals. Amoeba, paramecium, and euglena are the examples of unicellular organism. The first type of organism is binary fission. Binary means two. Only single parent cell divides into two, called as the binary fission. Binary fission means, for example, I am drawing the picture of amoeba. These are the pseudopodia. Pseudopodia are for locomotion, nucleus, and cytoplasm. In favorable condition, amoeba drawn the pseudopodia and there is a constriction of nucleus, and from one single parent cell, two amoebae are formed, and these are called as the daughter cells. And daughter cells are formed after the constriction. In the first step, there is a constriction of nucleus, dividation of cytoplasm, dividation of nucleus, dividation of cytoplasm, and then from only single parents amoeba, two daughter amoebae are formed. This is called as binary fission in amoeba. Amoeba have no shape. Students, do you know amoeba have no shape? That is why in any axis, from any axis, amoeba can divide into two exactly similar daughter cells, and that is why such type of asexual reproduction is called as simple binary fission. Simple binary fission. Again, the binary fission is subdivided into simple binary fission, transverse binary fission, transverse binary fission, and then longitudinal binary fission. And third subtype of binary fission is longitudinal binary fission. Students, you understand the first subtype of binary fission. Then we are going to learn the second subtype of binary fission, that is the transverse binary fission. The transverse binary fission occurs in paramecium. Paramecium. I am going to draw the diagram of paramecium. Paramecium is also the unicellular organism, and a slipper-like shape is of paramecium. Nucleus is present, cytoplasm is present, and whenever paramecium grows in favorable condition, there is a transverse constriction of nucleus, and only single parent paramecium divides into two daughter paramecium, and the axis of fission is transverse. That is why such type of asexual reproduction is called as transverse binary fission, because the axis of dividation of the nucleus and the cytoplasm is horizontal axis. Look at the diagram. Students, look at the diagram. The axis of the fission is transverse. That is why such type of reproduction is called as transverse binary fission. And from only single paramecium, two exactly similar daughter paramecium are formed. That's why called as the binary fission. Look at the diagram. I am drawing the diagram of paramecium, and these are called as the daughter paramecia. Daughter paramecia. And this is the parent paramecium. Parent paramecium. The next type is longitudinal binary fission. The third subtype of binary fission is called as longitudinal binary fission. What is meant by longitudinal binary fission? I am drawing the diagram of euglena. Euglena. Do you know euglena is also the unicellular organism and green in color, and flagella is there for the locomotion. This is the diagram of euglena. Whenever in favorable condition, euglena and its nucleus and cytoplasm, there is a constriction longitudinally or vertically. Longitudinally or vertically. The axis of dividation is vertical, that is the longitudinal axis. The nucleus and cytoplasm divides, and that is why from single euglena, two daughter euglena are formed. Two daughter euglena are formed. This is euglena, green in color, and this is the whip-like structure. The whip-like structure is for the locomotion, and that whip-like structure is called as the flagella. And these are the daughter euglena. Remember STL. STL means the binary fission subtype, simple binary fission, transverse binary fission, as well as longitudinally binary fission. Students, the question may ask for the MCQ, which type of, you have given the diagrams of amoeba, paramecium and euglena, whatever it may be, and showing the binary fission. You have to identify in MCQs of your board exam which type of binary fission is given in that. Do you understand? The first type of asexual reproduction. Yes, very well. आज तो हमें मिसेस ग्रेंट को याद रखना है. मिसेस ग्रेंट. Mrs. Grant means all types of life processes. The next type of asexual reproduction is multiple fission. First type is binary fission. In that, the three subtypes we learn. Then multiple fission. Students, मल्टीपल यानी क्या? मल्टीपल यानी बहुत सारे, बहुत सारे. In case of amoeba, I again draw the diagram of amoeba, and amoeba have so many pseudopodias, and pseudopodias, the spelling of pseudopodia it starts from P. P is silent here. Pseudopodia. Podia means in Latin word, podia means legs. And amoeba use this pseudopodia for locomotion. Whenever in favorable condition, the growth of the amoeba is completed, and in the nucleus, the repeated cell division or the mitosis takes place, and by the repeated cell division, so many nuclei are formed, and amoeba have the power to engulf the pseudopodia inside. And the shape, there is no particular shape of amoeba, and whenever in favorable condition, amoeba grows and the outer covering is formed, and that outer covering is called as the cyst, and that hard covering, and inside inside that says repeated cell division takes place and from a single nucleus many nuclei are formed. See the spelling of nuclei. That is not the singular, that is the plural. Nucleus and nuclei. Many nuclei are formed and in favorable condition, whenever the cyst breaks, many amoebae are formed and that amoebae are called as daughter amoebas. Daughter amoebas. अनेक असे अमीबी तयार होतात त्याला डॉटर अमीबीज असं म्हणतात. This fissure is called as the multiple fissure and the third type of fissure is called as budding. Budding is a process. विद्यार्थी मित्रांनो, बटाटे बरेच दिवस तुमच्या घरात स्टोअर केलेले असतील तर त्या बटाट्यांना तुम्हाला असे कोंब आलेले दिसतात. On the potatoes there are the pods on potatoes like that. in a yeast नावाच्या फंगाय मध्ये सुद्धा एक प्रोजेक्शन निर्माण होतं. There is a projection or the outgrowth of that yeast cell. There is a projection or the outgrowth on the surface of that yeast cell. No doubt, yeast cell is also the unicellular fungi, and we are observing or learning about the unicellular organisms only. Whenever there is a projection, that projection grows and nucleus divides and cytoplasm divides, and again on that projection many cells are formed and detached from each other in favorable condition, and this process is called as budding and from single parent cell. Students, remember, in asexual reproduction there is no male gamete and female gamete. Only single parent cell can give the many daughter cells called as budding, and such type of reproduction is called as budding. Many yeasts are formed in this process. Students, again revise the life processes, the types of life processes, then the reproduction in asexual reproduction in unicellular organism. In that, the first type of asexual reproduction is binary fission. In binary fission, there are three types of subtypes: simple, transverse, and longitudinal. And in multiple fission, example is amoeba. Then the third type is budding. The example is yeast. Today you have to draw the diagrams in your homework notebook. Today's date 10/9/20. Homework. Draw the neat label diagrams of all types of asexual reproduction in unicellular organisms, and you have to recite the memory enhancement trick I have given. This is great. And then remember the examples, remember the definitions and the description of asexual reproduction. I hope you better understand, my students. Thank you.